Don't cheat us out of our true mediocrity. So remember to like and subscribe and donate to our charity.
And I to what charity? We are a charity.
The Red Hot Underdog charity.
Red hot underdogs rocking the night. Anzac and Drew, we bring in the fight. Talk about the game ain't just one side. Whistles blowing, sirens loud wide. Energy pumping, scheming plot. Nothing too small, nothing forgot.
Three.
Boxing gloves and footy kicks.
And we've done it. Yet again, we are here delivering some entertainment. The Red Hot Underdogs. I am Anzac, and with me tonight is the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, but never duplicated. Please put your hands together for Drewy.
Hey, buddy. Hey, everybody. Not everything in life is fair, and occasionally we have a cheater to bow down to and admire. So let's all admire the top 10 greatest cheaters of all time in
Yes,
sports.
yes, yes. Cheers
Yes. So
to you, cheaters.
without further ado, do you want me to do my list first or
Oh,
you?
no, no, my list is probably cheating and messy, you know.
Yeah.
So I reckon, you're the brains of this operation. I'm the comedic sidekick, sideshow Bob.
Okay.
So you lead this top 10 list, Drewy. Is that okay?
Okay. Well, coming in at number 10 is
10,
none other
10.
than 10, 10, 10. Using the word brains very, very loosely, though, might I add. Coming in at number 10 is none other than Diego Maradona, the
Oh,
mighty hand of God from the 1986 quarterfinals against England in the World Cup.
yeah, wow. Look, I have to say, if you a lot of lists have him at number one,
Yeah.
and you started him off at number 10. So like that's what I'm surprised at, to tell the truth. If he was number one, it's justifiable, you know. Why is he number 10? Why, like we all know he pushed it in, and he did it more than once too, didn't he? He used his hands to
Yeah.
score goals.
I'm really glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
And it's because the other people on my team,
Yeah.
on not my team, on my list,
On your
make
list,
Diego Maradona
on your cheaters
look
list.
like a choir boy.
Mm.
The other people or teams on this list are absolute reptiles of
Yep.
human beings
Yep.
that have been absolutely disgraceful bottom of the barrel cheats.
And
So,
he
yeah,
cheated, but his career was not over when he cheated. In fact, his career maybe even got bigger. He was the coach of Argentina. Like he earned heaps. He did heaps. He was a superstar for cheating.
he was an absolute superstar. So, the hand of God is what I call one of the greatest moments in volleyball history
Yes.
when he banged that soccer ball into the back net to give
Yeah.
Argentina a 2-1 win over England. And yes, I said volleyball.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Uh, Listen, I think that it took balls for him to do that. He realized that he couldn't get to the ball with his head
Yeah.
or his foot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a punt. Let's just spike this one into the net,
Yeah.
a la Tom Cruise playing volleyball in Top Gun.
Top Gun. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Smashed it with the shirts off.
he did. The English are still very salty about that to this day.
Yeah.
Thanks to Diego, they went on to actually win the World Cup after that. And he was actually, funnily enough, saying to his fellow players after he spiked the ball into the net with his hand, hey, hey, celebrate, celebrate. Come on, we might get away with this
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. They did. Yeah. So.
It's yeah, it was kind of like a guy in a car park backing into a Porsche
Yeah.
and not leaving his details, and no
Yeah.
one else is around. So it's, hey, let's get away with this one.
Or you get out and you write on a little note, everybody thinks I'm leaving my name and number, but I'm not. I hope you have a nice day. Sorry I ran into your car. I'm out of here. We've all done that before,
Yes.
right?
So, that was Diego Maradona.
Okay, number 10. All right, we're moving to number 9.
None other than the Australian cricket team
Oh, yes.
in March 2018, otherwise known as the Sandpaper Gate scale.
The yellow
Sandpaper,
sandpaper.
should I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Huge news,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was huge because, you know, we had heroes and they were so good. And, you know, the difference between Maradona, okay, yeah, he did it, he scored, everybody loved him, but these guys did it. I mean, they've redeemed themselves since, like, because it was Smith Bancroft, is that right? Yeah.
Smith, Bancroft, and Warner.
Warner, yeah, yeah. And people like that
So
ruined him. Like what ruined Bancroft, right? Like he's
it
been,
ruined Bancroft. Look, Bancroft was never the same after that and
yeah,
barely played a test
yeah,
after that. He may have had two or three, but
yeah,
his form after that, emotionally, mentally, it just ruined him. And he was a promising guy on the rise. And for
yeah,
the best part of it, I thought that he was actually the fall guy. He
yeah,
was the new kid into the team.
yeah,
Smith and Warner were like, you know what, we're getting pumped here. We got to try something
yeah,
different. But
yeah,
in this instance, cheating was a really stupid idea
yeah,
because guess what? None of us would be remembering a test match series against South Africa
yeah.
from March in 2018
Mm,
today. It
mm,
would just be lost like a fart in the wind.
mm.
But I think they get so used to their own bubble that they
Yeah,
think it's the be all and end all at the time. And they think the whole world is watching
yeah.
and the whole world is paying attention. But they're really not.
Didn't they get caught by some dude just watching it on TV and called in or something like that? Like who first saw it? Like, well, it would have
Yeah,
been.
it was actually captured on one of the cameras.
Yeah, yeah,
So what happens, it was captured on one of the cameras, I think, during the telecast.
mm,
And unfortunately, yeah, I do feel sorry for Cameron Bancroft here. Old Steve Smith's just waltzed into a Bunnings, gone into the sandpaper
yeah,
section
yeah,
and said, "You're the new kid on the block. You're the one that's got to do the dirty." And I know this feels un-Australian, but I actually felt extremely glad that Australia lost
yeah.
4-1 in that series because it was extremely shameful.
Yeah. And but they had that sandpaper in their bag for something else, right? It wasn't there just to cheat. Or was it there for another reason, you know?
Well, I think it was just there to cheat.
Ah,
Let's face it, they don't have it there to sand floors of the changing room after the
I don't
game.
know.
I don't think any of them are doing carpentry work on the side.
Like a scuff on a cricket bat or something. Like do you use do players keep a bit of sandpaper in their bag? I guess not now, but
That's
anyway.
a good point you raise. I stand corrected. It is for the bats. They
Yeah.
do sandpaper the front of the bat. You are correct.
Yeah. So it was
So
yeah, okay.
it was for the bat. Just for the record, Smith and Warner got a 12-month ban from international cricket,
Yeah, yeah.
and Cameron Bancroft got a 9-month ban because he was essentially the fall guy.
And the funny
It
bit
was
was, can you remember they shoved that yellow sandpaper into their undies, trying to hide it, and
yes,
they
yes,
caught on
yes.
TV. They were like, "What you got in your undies, mate?" Like, no, 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 deeper down under that thing. What you got under there? And boom, then came the sandpaper out of the undies, like and caught red-handed. Yeah, it was
Caught
exciting.
red-handed.
Yeah,
The thing I didn't like about it was that they were prepared statements in front of the media
yeah, yeah,
afterwards at the press conference. I prefer it when the players just look straight down the barrel,
yeah.
nothing prepared, nothing written, come straight from the heart. But you
And
know what? It
yeah,
was a dark day for
crocodile
Australian
tears.
cricket, and I'm
I
glad
mean,
it's
was
over.
tears? Was it crocodile tears or was it fake? Was it real? It was all
Oh
like,
no.
yeah, yeah,
I think Steve Smith took it the worst. He
yeah,
was crying deluxe. Like he
yeah,
had actual tears,
yeah, yeah,
like a girly boy watching a rom-com.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I
So I actually think he
like
needed to buy a bucket as well as the sandpaper from Bunnings because
oh
he
God, yeah,
had that many tears. It was like Noah's Ark
yeah, yeah. It
tears.
was painful, wasn't it? Um.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that, I
Moving on.
say it was big. It definitely deserves to be in top 10 because
Yes.
it was huge cheating. It was big news, and it was the Australian team, and yeah, we are up to number five, six, seven, eight, eight.
Number eight. Coming in at number eight, August 18th of 1984.
Oh,
You
yeah.
may or may not know of this one. None other than the fine cotton scandal.
Fine cotton. Ah,
Yes. Now,
I don't know
this
it.
one you might find
Yeah.
interesting. So, fine cotton was a horse in Australian racing,
Ah,
and it was racing at Eagle Farm, and it started out having odds of 33 to 1.
ah.
So, the owners thought, let's make a bit of money on this. The horse is crap. Let's change it for a horse that looks like fine
Of course,
cotton.
this is the Watergate scandal. Yes.
So,
Yes,
and
yes, it
then,
is, isn't it? This is the Watergate scandal.
yeah,
Yes,
Robbie Watergate and all of that.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
This I honestly had this in my notes here as one of mine.
yes,
And I
yes,
tell you what, like people don't talk about this as a top 10 in sporting scandals. Okay. But
yeah,
top 10, it's eight, it's top 10. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it definitely is. Okay, yes. So Fine Cotton was the name of this horse. Keep going, Drewy. Keep going. I love this one.
yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, so what happened is they then went and bought a horse called Dashing Solitaire,
Yep,
which had two areas of white fur on its back
yep.
hind legs,
Hind leg.
just like yeah. So it had two white bits of hair on its hind legs, like fine cotton.
Stripes,
Okay.
stripes, stripes. Racing,
Yes,
racing stripes.
yes.
Just like on a car.
So
Make
it
it
was
go
it was
faster.
like
If you've got
it was
racing.
like white natural hair.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yep, yep.
So they bought this other horse called Dashing Solitaire.
You got a bit of white
Unfortunately,
natural hair going on in your hair, actually, now I think about it.
absolutely, it makes me run and walk a hell of a lot faster.
They're
So
lying.
anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. So Dashing Solitaire actually got injured about 2 days out from the race.
Ah,
And they're like, oh my God, we've bought Dashing Solitaire.
yeah,
We're all in on this to make some money.
yeah,
Well, we've invested too much time and money in this. Let's buy another horse.
yeah,
So they bought Bold Personality,
yeah,
which is in a division called Open Class, which is a higher grade of horse.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, problem with Bold Personality is it didn't have its color of hair look anything like
yeah,
either Dashing Solitaire or Fine Cotton.
yeah, yeah.
So they bought like 100 containers of Clairol hair dye,
Ah,
and they tried to dye the hair of the horse a
yeah.
day out, like the night before the race.
Can you imagine that? Like just like in these stables, these guys sneaking in with all these like hair dye to dye a horse's hair. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So then the next day,
And they did it.
unfortunately,
They dyed the horse. They did it.
they did it.
They did
They
it.
did it.
They did it.
But unfortunately, the next day, when it came to race day,
Yeah.
it looked less like a chocolate brown and more like a red stop sign with legs.
Ah, okay. So
So,
it didn't race. They picked up before it, did they?
no, no, they still raced it.
Yeah, they raced
And
it.
then here's the kicker, they got some white spray paint and sprayed it on the hind legs.
Oh yeah, yeah, Yeah.
Then they raced the bloody horse.
Yeah.
It did win, but everybody lost. How bloody stupid, because it looked nothing like fine cotton.
I mean, and definitely it's cheating. But what I
Yeah,
like about that one is it's they were disgraced. They were never allowed on a racehorse again. You know, yeah,
yeah,
Gay Waterhouse, the wife and the son obviously are heavily involved and the whole family's involved. But it's just funny that a grandfather and the father couldn't ever go to a racehorse in Australia ever or be involved with anything.
yeah,
But what I wanted to say is like they did it for money, right? They did it
yes,
for money. And that kind of makes cheating a little bit more okay. I mean, if someone's cheating because they want money compared to cheating because they want an Olympic gold medal? Like, which is worse? You tell me. I don't know. I just kind of think, I really think that doing something for money and cheating for money is a little bit more acceptable. Yeah?
Yeah, it can be. Look, they're all sinners, let's be honest.
Yeah.
No one's a winner here. You're all cheats
No,
and
but if
you're
you're going
all
to cheat,
absolute reptiles.
you might as well do it for the cash. You know what I mean, Drewy? Do
Yes.
it for the
Yes.
moolah. Anyway, done. Number eight,
So
done. What do they call it? The Waterhouse Watergate
I
scandal.
think the Waterhouse scandal, whatever. But look, I think they mainly call it just the fine cotton scandal, to be
Ah, okay.
perfectly honest.
Okay.
So they,
All right.
they won the race, but they lost the war.
Lost the war. Number seven.
Yes, none other than the Melbourne shitstorm,
Oh,
the old Melbourne storm.
yeah.
So salary cap cheats,
Yep. Yep.
like absolute disgraceful.
Yep.
From 2006 to 2009, they cheated.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were stripped of both their 2007 and 2009 grand final
Yep.
wins.
Yep. Yep.
So essentially, everybody watched two grand final wins that were null and void. They
Yeah.
wasted everybody's season, and they made four grand finals in that time. So it's lucky they didn't win those other two, because
Yeah.
had they done a Penrith Panthers and won four in a row,
Yeah.
they might have wasted everyone's time for 4 straight years.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was huge news. They definitely got to be up there, the Storm. I mean, my only kind of, you know, defense on that, like, is like how many people actually knew of it? Did the players know?
Oh
Do
yeah, the players knew.
you think
One of them
yeah.
actually had a Yeah, of course. You'd have to know they were being given gifts and extra cash, and there were third-party deals, and it
Oh,
had the lot of it in there.
so you reckon every player in the Melbourne Storm over those years knew that there was a scam going on, that they were over the
Not every player, but there was a select few at the top. I'd say at least 6 or 7 players, because their team was that star-studded
yeah.
that everyone was a rock star, and at least 6, 7, 8 of them had to know.
But you know
So
what? Like sometimes I look at teams in rugby league and I think how like we talked about this Roosters and even Storm like and I've thought how are they fitting under the salary cap now? You know, so I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe none of them did know. Is it possible that none of them knew?
Oh, no.
No.
I don't think so. I think they knew. I think they're dirty cheats. I think they're disgraceful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think you're disgraceful for giving them an out. There was
Okay,
no
yeah.
excuse.
Okay, you're right. Well, look, I don't like the Storm, but you know, like
No.
I like that I don't like them. Is that okay? Like I like not like
Yeah, look,
yeah.
if ever there's a team not to like, it's
Yeah.
because of that, because they were dirty,
Yeah.
rotten cheats for 4 straight years.
Yeah, and they will never live that down, and I'll dislike them
No,
forever for that. And look, I'm wearing my Manly hat. So there you go.
correct.
Let's hope that
Beautiful.
they continue to lose, but geez, I tell you what, they're going to be good this year, aren't they? I know we're not, you
They
know,
will be good
yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
they're going to be, they're a great team. Okay, well,
Yeah.
look, we are up to number six.
Yeah, okay. Number 6 is none other than 1988
Right.
100-meter sprint gold medalist
Yep.
Ben Johnson.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
he
Uh,
rocked up to the 1988 Olympics in
Yep.
Seoul with such a jacked body, looking like a condom full of
Yeah,
walnuts.
yeah, walnut.
And
Yep.
I just think that his stature,
Yeah.
physical stature, gave him away.
Yep.
He actually broke the world record in
Yep.
that gold medal winning race.
Yep.
And 3 days later, he was actually caught for steroids,
I mean, if
a high dose of
there's
it.
a couple of people, like if you think of drug cheats, like if you think of
Yeah.
cheats, drug cheats are right at the top, and Ben
Yes.
Johnson is, you know, if he's not right at the top, there's a couple of other ones that I'm sure are on your list, but you know, cheating, drug cheating, right at the top, Ben Johnson. I mean, because
Yeah.
he's just the was famous for being a drug cheat, you know?
Yeah, essentially he went from hero to zero in 9.79 seconds.
Yeah,
So
wow. That's pretty fast, you know?
very, very fast. And
Has that
what
has that been beaten by someone 9.79 seconds been beaten by someone not on the juice since?
Yeah, yeah, it has since. It has since.
Okay.
So
That's good.
unfortunately, he's even a bigger reptile because he
Mm.
tried to make two more comebacks and got caught twice again for steroids.
Oh,
So
God.
it wasn't his only infraction. And then he later claimed that he ran one of his meets in 1987 and he was also on the juice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a
So
leopard never changes its spots, or we should say,
no.
cheetah never changes its spots.
Or
Yeah?
Ben Johnson never changes his medication.
Never changes. All right. Okay, so we are up to the top five. Number five.
Yes. Okay, number five might be one that you don't necessarily know. It's the Spanish Paralympic basketball team from 2000.
Dude,
They,
dude. Not only do I not know that, hang on. Not
yes,
only do I know that, but I actually
yeah.
think that this has got to be number one. What is worse
Yeah.
than these dirty cheats? You've got four worse than this. Tell us about it, and then I'll tell you. Then there's nothing worse than this, Drewy. Nothing. Okay. All right. Tell us about it.
Okay.
Tell us about these Spanish cheats. Tell us.
So there was a controversial category within the Paralympics, which is the intellectual disability category, whereby you need to have a IQ of 75 or less. I think I could possibly qualify.
We
Maybe
would
we both would
qualify easy. Easy would be
easily.
easy. Easy. We wouldn't even need to test. They'd just look at us and they'd be, yeah, you blokes, you skip the queue, go to the front. Come on, you go to the Paralympics. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, 10 out of the 12
Yeah.
players were not intellectually disabled by the criteria. They were able-bodied, full functioning human beings. The other two, I reckon, probably would have been left on the bench with 5 minutes to go. The coach has gone, right, hose A, hose B, go on the court,
Yeah.
do your magic, and win the game.
And the sad thing is that whatever you call them, hose A and hose B, um, they were intellectually disabled and they had
Yes,
their gold medals stripped as well.
yes, yes.
And I mean, to me, this is number one, Drewy. I know you said we're at
Mm.
number five, but it's number
Yeah,
one because what type of person will pretend that they're disabled when they're not, just to beat other disabled people and take some medal home? And, like they're not doing it for money. They're not doing it to, like to come first against other able-bodied people. Like that's why, like, I just think this is hands down number one. Number one.
okay, well, essentially, they did it for a free trip and a gold medal.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, two of the players actually exposed them in the end
Yep.
because they were living with the guilt and felt they needed to come clean.
Yeah. And wasn't
So,
there some journalist that was involved too? There was,
yeah, he was involved. He was actually in the
yeah.
team. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
he came
but
clean.
isn't that crazy? Like they actually had an undercover journalist that got
Yeah,
into the team just to
yeah,
prove how rigged it was. I guess
yeah,
this, you could blame it on the system as well, but
yes.
but I just think what type of person would do that? Like imagine if you did that. Like how would you explain that to your mates what you did? You'd be, oh yeah, man, I pretended I was disabled, so I'd got a free trip to Australia. Mate, you are a total asswipe, like anyway. Yep, number four. I'll go on. Number four.
It will go to number four, Tonya Harding.
Oh, yes.
So the ice skater who was hoping to get into and win the 1994 figure skating event.
Yep. Yep.
Now, her biggest rival was Nancy Kerrigan,
Yep.
and Tonya Harding's ex-husband
Yeah.
actually hired two hitmen to essentially try and incapacitate Nancy Kerrigan. So when she came off the ice skating rink for one of her practice sessions, one of them pulled out a retractable bar,
Yeah.
bingo bango, straight across the knees.
Hey, boom. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes, the rest is history on that one. So
Jeez.
unfortunately, because she thought that she was such a threat for the Olympics and they were both vying for the gold medal,
Yeah.
here's the kicker.
Yeah.
In the end, neither of them got the gold medal in the Olympics. It was Russian Oksana Bayul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's, karma, you know. And
Well,
it's just
yeah,
crazy. But what wasn't, the movie came out. I mean, how real is the movie? I've seen the movie to real life, but, they probably
mm,
fluffed up the movie a bit, like they, it was said she didn't really want to hurt them that bad. They just wanted to kind of rough them
yeah.
up, mentally mess them up. But they thought, oh,
mm.
yeah, I'm understood. I'm going to just like take them out, take their kneecap out.
Yeah, just for the record, Tonya Harding finished eighth and Nancy Kerrigan finished a very respectable second given the
Yeah,
circumstances.
yeah,
I
yeah,
felt sorry for her.
yeah, yeah,
The thing that surprised me the most is back then Tonya Harding was still able to compete in the Olympics
yeah,
with the investigation going on. But,
yeah.
different time, different place. So that was actually my number four.
Number four. Okay, moving on to the top three.
So number three, back in June 16, 1983, was boxer Louis Resto, who was actually a journeyman with 20 wins, 8 losses, and 2 draws, defeated up and coming Billy Collins, who was highly touted. And I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but there were certain murmurs that maybe he could be a professional world champion in the future.
Yep.
He had a record of 14 fights and 14 wins with 11 KOs. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Resto and his trainer Panama Lewis not only put their hand wraps in plaster of Paris, they
Oh,
also took the padding out of the gloves.
oh yeah.
And for the entire fight that went to decision,
Yeah, wow.
actually fractured Billy Collins both eye sockets,
Yeah.
left him with permanent damaged
Yeah.
eyesight.
Permanent. Yeah, that's not cool.
And just a really low act. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, Lewis Resto and Panama Lewis, I do believe will probably end up in the pits of hell with
Yeah.
some pink marshmallows
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
their food to cook
Yeah.
on the fire because
I
that
mean,
was absolutely dreadful.
it's cheating and it's ruining it's not doing it for money. It's doing
Yeah.
it, to win, but also ruining someone else's life, you know?
Well, and there's also a strong case to be said that this could actually be number one because of the actual physical damage you
Yeah.
do to
Oh, he could have
somebody.
died. He could have died. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like it was that close. It's
The
it's
only reason I haven't put this at number one is that it doesn't have
oh, 10 minutes.
uh the,
10 minutes.
yes.
10 minutes.
The
Yeah.
only reason it's not at number one is because of the stakes. Like it's not like an Olympics or it's not on a bigger
Yeah.
stage. And
Yeah.
it didn't bring this, although it brought the sport into disrepute, it's not greatly remembered. It was more the gross act of cheating with
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
that was
It's seriously shocking.
absolutely disgraceful from both of them. And
Right.
unfortunately, just a side note before I get on to number
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
sadly, Billy Collins actually died a year later in a car crash, and a lot of people actually suspect it might have been from suicide.
Yeah. Wow. So it did get him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It did get him. And
but that's terrible.
yeah.
Number
Terrible.
two,
Number
unfortunately,
two.
yes.
Number two.
Now,
Yeah, I got the numbers happening, Joy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, for some reason, everybody made it their business to ruin the 2000 Olympics and just treat Sydney as an absolute cheating ground full of absolute grubs.
Yeah,
So, Marion Jones, no different. She
yep,
won 3 gold and 2 bronze in the Sydney Olympics,
yep,
all on the juice.
yeah. Okay,
Now, the reason I have her at number 2, it's an Olympics.
okay.
These people and athletes train for 4 years,
Yeah,
blood, sweat, tears, diets, the whole bit,
yep,
all for it to be taken away by some absolute grub who has some huge advantage to their name. And I just think it's a terrible thing to do for an Olympics, given the sacrifice by other
yeah,
competitors.
yep. Okay, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Any more news on this, Marion? Any more news? Made
Oh, well, she was also married to a guy, CJ Hunter, who was a
yeah.
shot putter
Shot putter. Yeah, yeah,
who also won gold at the Sydney Olympics, but
yep,
was caught 2 days later again on
yep,
the juice. She had an ex-partner who she didn't marry but had a kid by,
yeah.
who was Tim Montgomery, who was a sprinter, also a steroid
They're
cheat.
all on it. They're all on it, and they're all saying each other's on it. It was like just this family of steroid users, and yeah, it was just it's a culture.
Yeah,
It's a culture. Yeah,
and she tried it again in a failed comeback. And I think in the next Olympics in Athens,
yeah,
she didn't medal in anything and she came fifth in the long jump. So that should show you what kind of advantage she had.
yeah. Good. Okay, I like it. All right, drum roll. Drrrr. We are up to number one.
Number one, none other than Lance
Oh,
Armstrong,
yeah.
won 7 consecutive Tour de France's,
Yep,
spent his whole career just taking steroids
yep,
and couldn't help the adulation,
yep,
couldn't help the narcissism,
yep,
couldn't help the spotlight,
yep,
and always had to come back for more unworthy championships.
yep. Well, he was such the golden boy of that sport as
Yes,
well.
yes,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you got your athletes in certain sports that are as big as that sport. We often talk about
yeah,
these ones.
yeah,
You got
yeah, yeah.
Federers and Djokovic's. You've got like Conor McGregor's in the UFCs. You've got your Schumachers in the racing. But he summarized. He was as big as cycling itself. And remember, he had those yellow bands. Like he worked for charity.
Yeah.
Everybody loved him. He was such a looked up.
Yeah.
And people were beyond shocked when it came out. And
Yeah, I love the wristbands to protect people from wrist cancer from the sun. Very
Oh,
good.
yeah, is that what it did? Yeah, okay, all right.
But
Yeah,
no,
crystal.
so he had the whole cancer backstory and that, but
Yeah,
that all just dissolved
yeah,
because he was just an absolute grub and a cheat and a reptile.
yeah,
And I know people sometimes give it a pass because they go, oh, well, everyone else who was cycling had drugs, but
yeah,
he had more money and facilities for better drugs. And it doesn't mean that other people weren't taking because there were some that weren't taking
yeah, yeah,
and
of course.
were competing clean.
Yeah.
So I don't buy any of that either.
Look,
Or everyone else was doesn't make it right. And there were
true.
some that weren't taking drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, your list.
Okay, well, my list is just a couple of ones. So that's 10 to 1 Drew's list. Mine is just a couple that I'm just going to throw in there. Okay. Um, and so I'm just going to talk about some. Is this cheating? Okay, number one, Iman Khalif. Now it's come out. Iman Khalif is a boxer that is a woman with a micro penis. Now it's come out. Iman has a micro penis. Should he be on this list?
I'll say this. She also, or it, or he also has a vagina.
Yes.
But
Right.
listen,
Yeah.
and the penis really isn't that big. It's more of a glorified clitoris.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking up for Aman Khalif. I'm
No.
just putting this well and truly in the bloody too hard basket. So,
Yeah.
for the purpose of the exercise, Aman Khalif, probably in hindsight, should not be competing. But to me, there's a shitload of grey in this, and
Not
I
yet.
don't think anyone's an expert.
And grey means you can kind of get out of this list. Is that right?
Yeah, and to me, there's pros and cons for both rabbit hole arguments that could go on forever.
All right, I got
Yeah.
another one. This one first, this one. Are these both cheats? Well, yeah, they are. Which one is worse? So you tell me, Drewy. Okay, which is worse? Number one, okay. I got it here. Number one, the uh, Iron Mike Tyson biting Holyfield's ear versus Hopewadi and the finger bun.
Oh, look, I don't think either of them were cheating as such. They were just
I don't think
disgraceful
that's
acts.
cheating. Biting some
Oh,
guy's ear off and
yeah,
giving
look,
someone the old, let's test if you got prostate cancer up the gunta. No, of course they're cheating.
look, I'm going to put Mike Tyson, but
Yeah,
I think Tyson's was just a grubby act because he was getting completely frustrated and befuddled by the great Evander Holyfield. And I think just John Hopewadi just is like 90 different sandwiches short of a feast or a picnic, and he's just got 20 screw looses. So there's absolutely no rationale for John Hopewadi. He's just a mental case. So, but
well,
I'm going to go for
people off.
Tyson.
It was cheating.
Purpose the exercise.
It was cheating. You know, you you,
Okay, all right.
you do that to someone. You know.
I'm going Tyson. Who's your next? Who you
Okay,
got
next.
next?
All right, next I've got yellow sandpaper that you mentioned before versus
Yeah.
the underarm ball. Can you tell us about the underarm ball in cricket?
Oh yeah, that was a famous one years ago where I think New Zealand needed, I do believe I might be wrong, it was either 6 or 4 off the
Yeah.
last ball.
Yep.
So if you prevented a boundary or a six, it was one or the other, then you essentially won the game.
Yep.
Australia, one of the Chappell brothers bowled an underarm ball to
Yep.
win the game. That was pretty disgraceful, but I'm going for the sandpaper because it's a test match. It's over a longer period of
Yeah.
time that you're cheating, and there's a lot more thought behind it. It's not some spur of the moment grub act.
And
There's actually a bit of preconceived idea and strategy
was
behind it.
that underarm ball even cheating? Like, was it part of the rules? Like, you could do
I
that?
think I think maybe it could, but I'm putting it as cheating because it's not in the sporting
Yeah.
spirit of the game, shall we
But
say.
if it doesn't say you can't do it, then you can do
Yeah, but even so, I think it was so unsportsmanlike you could categorize it as cheating.
it.
But for the purpose of the exercise, I'm going with the yellow sandpaper.
Hey, all right. Well, all right, mate. We got less than 1 minute to go. That's it for me. That's it for you. Great episode. Thank you so much.
Hallelujah.
Uh, uh, and
Beautiful.
uh, and you're meant to say something about liking, subscribing. Okay. So you say
Yeah.
something very casual about that. Go.
Don't cheat us out of our true mediocrity. So remember to like and subscribe and donate to our charity.
And I to what charity? We are a charity.
The Red Hot Underdog charity.
Yeah, yeah.
Giving us adulation we don't deserve.
Yeah. Look, I know I said it before, but out of your 10, I really think those Spanish guys that pretended to be disabled for a gold medal, they, to me, hold number one.
Fair enough. Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, yeah. All right, great episode, cuz.
Beautiful. Thank you, buddy.
See you
Cheers.
next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.